Wealth is not numbers in a bank. It is not the paper you hold in your hand. It is not the gold or the property or the outer possessions. All of these are simply shadows of something far greater. They are the visible echoes of an invisible state. Wealth begins and ends in consciousness. Everything you see in your world today is the outpicturing of an inner state you once occupied. You may believe money is earned by endless effort or secured by luck, but I tell you, it is consciousness alone that determines the flow of your life. Change your inner state, and your outer world must conform. When you say to yourself, "I want money," you place money outside of you. You confess by that very desire that you do not yet have it, and so you continue to live in a state of lack, for the outer world can only mirror the inner truth you persistently accept. Wanting keeps you wanting. But if you learn to act inwardly, as though you already are the possessor of great wealth, the story changes, not by waiting, not by hoping, but by assuming, by taking upon yourself the feeling that it is already yours. This inner assumption, faithfully persisted in, will bring the outer confirmation in ways you could never predict. Do not measure your state by appearances. If you look at the present circumstances and allow them to dictate your sense of self, you are still enslaved by the outer world. But if you dare to feel wealthy before the evidence appears, you have stepped into the creative act. For the unseen reality precedes the seen. This is not about pretending or playing games with your mind. It is about shifting your dwelling place in consciousness. Where do you live inwardly? In lack or in abundance? Wherever you live within, the world must follow. You may say, "But I have bills to pay, debts to clear, needs unmet." Yes, those may exist in the world of shadows, but they are not the root. If you persist in identifying with lack, they will multiply. If you persist in identifying with wealth, they will dissolve. To act like you already have millions is not to spend recklessly or boast idly. It is to inwardly walk in the dignity, the peace, and the assurance of one who knows wealth belongs to them. Hold this inner poise, and the outer world must bend to reflect it. To live as though you already possess great wealth is an inner act, not an outer display. It is not about showing the world, but about showing yourself. The question is not, "What do I have?" but, "What do I accept as true of myself?" For your acceptance determines your experience. When you quietly assume that you are wealthy, something shifts. You carry yourself differently, you think differently, you feel differently. There is no anxiety about tomorrow, no desperate calculation of lack. You move in calm assurance, because wealth is already yours in consciousness. This does not require others to see or agree with you. You do not need validation, nor do you need the approval of the world. The world is only the delayed reflection of your inner state. When you dwell in wealth within, the outer mirror will reveal it in due time. Think of how a wealthy man walks into a room. He does not rush, he does not beg, he does not strain. He knows who he is, and his actions naturally spring from that knowing. You too must adopt this same inner posture of certainty. This is not arrogance, it is not vanity, it is truth. To assume wealth is to honor the creative power within you. To deny it is to bow before circumstances as though they held power over you. You must choose whom you will serve, outer appearances or inner vision. The outer world will tempt you to measure yourself by its yardstick. It will remind you of unpaid accounts, of unmet goals, of visible lack. But these are only shadows. They vanish the moment you persist in the state of being wealthy. If you cling to appearances, you bind yourself to them. But if you dare to detach and rest in the invisible wealth within, you set in motion forces unseen that will bring about its visible counterpart. This law does not fail, for consciousness is the only reality. What you accept inwardly, you will meet outwardly. Therefore, to act like you already have millions is to walk daily with an inner calm, an inner gratitude, and an inner sense of completion. It is to rest in the knowledge that the unseen world is more real than the seen. And when this becomes natural to you, money must appear. To act like you already have millions is not a matter of words, but of feeling. Words without the corresponding inner tone are empty shells. Feeling is the one substance that gives life to assumption. Without feeling, nothing moves in the unseen. When you imagine wealth, you must go beyond the image and into the experience. What does it feel like to have it? Not tomorrow, not one day in the future, but now. This is the essence of assumption, to feel the wish fulfilled in the present. Ask yourself, how would you think if wealth were yours? Would you worry as you do now? Would you carry the same fears, the same anxieties, the same sense of being small? Or would you breathe with ease, knowing provision is already complete? The mind resists at first. It tells you, this is foolish. Look at the evidence before you. But you must remember that the evidence is the past made visible. The present assumption is the seed of the future harvest. When you take on the feeling of already having, you need not force anything. The world bends naturally to your conviction. Circumstances rearrange themselves, opportunities come, resources flow. All this springs from the invisible shift within you. It is like planting a seed in fertile soil. You do not shout at the seed nor dig it up every hour to see if it grows. You rest, you trust, you water it with persistence of feeling. In time, what was invisible bursts forth into form. So when I say act as though you have millions, I do not mean to spend carelessly or parade falsely. I mean to inhabit the inner wealth of consciousness. Carry yourself in thought as one who has already arrived, for as within, so without. You will know you are succeeding when gratitude wells up without effort. Gratitude is the natural fragrance of fulfillment. When you feel it is done, you cannot help but be thankful. And that thankfulness itself is the sign that the invisible is on its way to visibility. Many imagine wealth as something to chase, to obtain from the outside. But the truth is, it exists first within. The outer world reflects only what you persistently feel inside. To manifest, you must hold the inner state without wavering. Persistence is not effort, nor is it struggle. It is the quiet assurance that your wish is already fulfilled. When thoughts of lack arise, do not battle them harshly. Simply return to the feeling of abundance as naturally as returning home. The world may present evidence contrary to your assumption. You may see bills, obligations, or delays. This is not a sign of failure. It is merely the echo of the past, fading before your inner insistence. Imagine a river blocked by stones. The water does not cease. It flows around, over, or under the obstacle. So too does your inner wealth find expression despite outer appearances. Trust the process, and the obstacles lose their power. Every time you feel wealthy, however briefly, you are planting another seed. Do not underestimate small, consistent acts of feeling. Each one compounds until the unseen becomes visible. Your inner state is the magnet drawing circumstances to match it. Do not measure success by what you see immediately. Measure it by your ability to remain in the state of having. Can you feel wealth when the ledger shows emptiness? Can you rejoice in advance, knowing the invisible is operative? Many fail because they mistake outer conditions for reality. Reality is first conceived, then felt, then expressed. Your wealth exists now in consciousness. Persist there, and the outer form will follow. Let every act of your mind, every feeling, every thought be in harmony with abundance. Speak, move, and think as one who is already wealthy. Do not doubt, do not seek evidence, do not chase. Persist in the feeling, and all else will inevitably manifest. To truly manifest wealth, you must believe in it with every fiber of your being. Belief is not mere thought, it is the feeling that your desire already exists. Many attempt to reason their way into abundance, yet reason alone cannot create. Feeling is the force that moves the unseen into being. Ask yourself now, how do you feel when imagining wealth? Is it hesitant, uncertain, or fully alive within you? If it lacks certainty, return to what is known, to what is true for you now. Anchor the feeling of having and refuse to leave it. Every detail of your imagination must support the reality you wish to see. Picture yourself as one who already possesses wealth, not just the money, but the peace, the ease, and the joy it brings. Immerse yourself fully, as if no other state exists. Do not be concerned with how it will appear. The method of manifestation belongs to the unseen. Your task is to persist in the inner state of having. Allow your mind to dwell there, as naturally as breathing. Resistance will arise. Doubts, fears, and the voice of the world may call you back. Do not yield. Simply observe and return to the feeling of wealth as your natural state. The deeper you feel, the more convincing the inner reality becomes. This is not imagination alone. It is living in the end, knowing it is already done. Let every sense in your body affirm it. Hear, see, feel, and act as one already prosperous. Do not underestimate quiet moments of belief. When you feel rich in solitude, when no one observes, you are planting the seeds of visible manifestation. Rejoice in advance. That joy is the energy that shapes reality. Persistence is the bridge between desire and experience. Remain steadfast in your inner conviction. Let every day, every thought, and every feeling affirm that your wealth exists now. In this alignment, the outer world cannot help but follow. Doubt is the great enemy of manifestation. It creeps quietly, disguised as reason or concern for reality. Yet doubt has no power over what is already created in imagination. To manifest wealth, you must refuse to entertain it. Notice when uncertainty arises. Do not fight it aggressively. Simply redirect your attention to the feeling of having. Return to the inner conviction that your desire is fulfilled. Your imagination is the workshop of reality. Every image you entertain is shaping the world to match it. If you persist in doubt, the outer world will reflect that hesitation. If you persist in certainty, it will reflect abundance. Many look to the world for proof. They measure their worth, their wealth, by what they see outside. This is the error. The outer world follows. It never leads. You must inhabit the state of having already received. Speak, think, and feel as one who is wealthy now. Notice the small indications of abundance that affirm this state. Each confirmation strengthens the bridge to the visible world. Inner resistance is natural. It is the world's voice trying to pull you back to limitation. Meet it with calm persistence. Refuse to leave the state of wealth, no matter the appearances. Trust is the companion of the assumption. To assume is to know the outcome is certain, even when unseen. Your feeling of wealth is the evidence, not the outer circumstances. Let your inner state alone determine your reality. The practice is simple, yet powerful. Live, move, and think as one who is already prosperous. Persist in this assumption daily, with joy and certainty. In this way, doubt loses its grip and manifestation flows naturally. Manifestation is not a one-time act. It is a continuous state of consciousness. To live in abundance, you must make the feeling of wealth habitual. It is no longer something you try to achieve. It is who you are. Every day presents opportunities to reaffirm your state. When you encounter situations that seem limiting, remind yourself of the inner reality. Wealth is already within your consciousness. External appearances cannot change the truth of your feeling. People often forget that the world mirrors their inner state. If you are tense, anxious, or doubtful, the outer world shows scarcity. If you are calm, confident, and prosperous in feeling, the world conforms to that state. Your inner life is the only reality that matters. Do not seek constant validation from others. The proof lies in your sustained assumption. What you feel inside has the power to create all that appears outside. Each day, nurture your inner world as if it is already complete. Wealth becomes effortless when it is habitual in consciousness. You no longer chase it. You no longer struggle with lack or need. You are the living proof of your own assumption. Consistency is the secret. A single moment of doubt does not ruin your creation, but persistent disbelief does. Guard your inner state as you would a treasure. Return to feeling wealthy whenever a thought of limitation arises. Remember, imagination is your workshop. Each scene you dwell upon, each feeling you embrace, shapes the world. Spend your energy imagining what you desire, not worrying about the absence of it. In this way, abundance flows naturally to you. Finally, see yourself as already rich, not just in money, but in the consciousness that produces it. Embody prosperity in thought, feeling, and attitude. Let the world adjust to the state you have assumed. This is how wealth becomes effortless, permanent, and natural. Now you see that wealth is not something to seek. It is a state to inhabit. The moment you dwell in that state, all outer appearances adjust to match it. You no longer wait, because it is already done in your consciousness. The key is to persist in your feeling. Do not allow passing thoughts of lack to disturb your inner world. Each day, reinforce the assumption of abundance. In doing so, you establish a foundation that cannot be shaken. It is not action in the external world that creates wealth. It is the sustained assumption of its reality within. Your feelings are the creative power. The world outside is a mirror of what you accept as true inside. There is no need to analyze how it will come or when it will appear. These are details of the physical world. Your concern is with the state you maintain. The manifestation flows naturally from that inner reality. Every experience that seems contrary is only an opportunity to reaffirm your assumption. Let the world show you that it cannot disturb the inner state. Your feeling of wealth is permanent and unshakable. This is the power of living as if it is already done. Do not be distracted by appearances or the opinions of others. They have no power over the reality you assume. You create from the unseen, from the inner consciousness. Stay faithfully in the feeling of abundance, and all else falls into place. Enjoy the state of wealth as if it is fully yours. Rejoice in the prosperity that exists in your imagination. Every scene you imagine with feeling is a seed of creation. The world outside is now a reflection of your inner joy and abundance. Finally, remember that living as if you are already rich is the only true path to wealth. Persist, believe, and feel it constantly. Let the outer world adjust to the state you have assumed. In this, you are free, empowered, and fully abundant.